Good morning, friends, and welcome to part 2 of my Christmas Decorate With Me series. I am back in the living room and back in my pajamas today because let's be honest, decorating is just more fun and cozy when you're in them. Along with decorating, I'm also going to be sharing 2 projects that I worked on this week that are both going to add loads of charm to our living room this holiday season. But the first thing that I'm going to be decorating is this wall cabinet that I built earlier in the fall. I love how it has taken an awkward corner of our living room and turned it into a real focal point in the space. I knew right away that I wanted to create a Christmas display using all of the little white and wood houses that I purchased a couple years back at the Target Dollar Spot, as well as all of the little bottle brush trees that I've been collecting over the last few years. In my mind, it's a reimagined version of the Christmas Village. I should also mention, as much as I truly love this wall cabinet, filming and decorating it can be a bit awkward, especially when you're doing both at the same time. My poor sofa is in need of replacing, and my having to stand on it is probably not helping matters. But I think at the end of the day, it will all be worth it, and the sofa will survive. Along with the houses and bottle brush trees, I'm also including the framed Victorian silhouettes that I made for my fall decor, as well as a tall candlestick and milk glass bud vase to try to add a little bit of height in a few of the little cubbies, if you will. I tried to pay close attention to the heights of the objects so that the entire cabinet would feel balanced. Now we are moving on to my childhood piano. I love to decorate this piece year after year, and it is such a treasure that I get to have it in my own home. Much like last year, I'm only using Christmas decor that I already have, with the exception of the 2 new garlands for the mantle that I showed last week. This particular tree was one that I remember finding on clearance in a Tom Thumb grocery store several years ago while we were traveling home during the holidays. I bought 2 of them, and they have become staples in my Christmas decor every year since. This year, I'm placing one of them in this Tractor Supply urn that I refinished earlier in the spring. I've really been loving it over here on the piano and changing it up for the seasons. I wanted to hang a wreath with ribbon on this large mirror on top of the piano. So first I put a large clear command strip on the mirror to actually hold the wreath in place. And then the ribbon that I attached to it is going to be taped to the top back of the mirror to give the illusion that the wreath is actually being hung by the ribbon. I apologize that this clip is less than stellar. I didn't realize until it was too late that you couldn't actually see the top of the mirror, but I wanted you to understand exactly what I was doing. Last Christmas, I was gifted this gorgeous ceramic Santa from someone who is very near and dear to my heart, and I couldn't wait to incorporate it in my decor this year. In place of a garland this year on the piano, I decided to just tuck these pine branch picks from Hobby Lobby into my decor pieces to give the illusion of a garland. I love that it looks a bit more realistic than the other garlands that I already have on hand, and since I didn't have a plan for those picks this year, I thought this was a perfect way to use them. In the final clips of the video, you'll see that I also added fairy lights to it as well, and I think it just completes the look. A few years back, I took my girls to Kansas to watch a dear childhood friend perform as Betty in a stage production of White Christmas. It was magical. My youngest daughter became so enamored with it that she immediately asked to buy the movie as soon as we got home, and she's watched it multiple times throughout the year ever since. I had thrifted this large gold frame a few weeks back and didn't have an immediate plan for it, but I knew at least for now it would be perfect for what I had in mind. So I found an image on Pinterest of the Columbia Inn sign from the movie, and using my oldest daughter's small projector, I was able to project it onto a piece of canvas drop cloth. I used a Sharpie marker to trace out the design and craft paint to paint it. I already had the canvas drop cloth on hand since I use it for a wide variety of projects. Once complete, I attached the canvas to a piece of foam board that my husband so graciously picked up for me, using hot glue, and I just popped it into the frame. I think finding a way to incorporate a nostalgic Christmas movie that your family loves is such a fun way to make your decor more personal this year. I wanted to add a swag of greenery to the top of the frame, so I bundled together some more faux pine branches with floral wire. I definitely struggled though when it came to how to attach it to the frame. It would not sit on top of the frame. No matter how hard I tried, it kept falling down. So I ended up using just a couple dabs of hot glue on the very top of the frame. And as I mentioned before, I thrifted this frame for $10, so I figured the worst thing that could happen was I would just have to touch it up a little bit with Rub 'n Buff if any of the paint came off. And I was okay with that. Pillow covers are such an easy way to change up your pillows for the holidays. They take up no space at all and cost a fraction of the price of a new pillow, especially if you make them yourself. This year, I'm using an assortment of ones that I have made as well as one that I found on Amazon, and I will link that one in the description box. One of our most treasured Christmas items are these homemade stockings that I made when the girls were small. They're not exactly my style anymore, but I would have a mutiny on my hands if I ever tried to switch them out. I still can't believe that I made them so big. Let's just say filling them every year can get tricky. So I got this big idea to fill the wall space around the Columbia Inn sign with these paper sack stars that I've been seeing on Reels and TikTok these last 2 years. They are so simple and inexpensive to make, and I couldn't be happier with how they turned out. So for each star, you need 8 paper sacks, all with the flap facing down. You're going to run a bead of hot glue across the bottom of the bag and then going up the middle, making a T-shape. Place the next bag on top, making sure the flap side is down, and repeat until all the bags are used. Once all the bags are glued together, you're going to use scissors to cut a large triangle across the top of the bag, making a point. I clearly need better scissors for this part because it was a real struggle with the ones that I had. But y'all, I persevered. You can also cut smaller triangles out on the sides if you like as well. I did a few with the added cuts and a few without for added variety. I then used a hole punch to make a hole at the top when I was done so that I could string a piece of twine through it for hanging, and then I used push pins to hang them from the ceiling. I also wanted to add that I used small paper clips on the back side to hold the two ends together so that I can easily fold them back up for easier storage. These ended up being so pretty and making a fun, whimsical statement in the living room.